Hi all, sorry we're running late with another episode of the Yankee Farm Wife. It was a little bit of a crazy week and I've had two lame horses. They're both doing much better now. I will muster up the Yankee Farm Wife. Let's see how much trouble I can get into this week. Hi all, Yankee Farm Wife here. Dear Louisiana, and especially Governor Jeff Landry. First, I want to offer my sincere congratulations for finally solving all this country's problems, all 10 of them. You know, don't worship false gods, no craven idols, don't say OMG, don't work on Sundays, no killing, adultery, theft, lying, or coveting your neighbor's golden toilet seat. So my first question for you is, what took you so long? It was so very simple. Just post the 10 commandments in every secular classroom and it will straighten out all those semi-literate hooligans you've been pushing through your third world level classrooms all these years. Not that I think you're raising hooligans. I have met many delightful, well-spoken people from your state. But advertising that you are in need of help from the Almighty to keep them in line does give one pause. According to the World Population Review's public school ranking for 2024, you just barely kept yourself out of the black slime at the bottom of the cesspool of public school rankings, while Arizona snatched defeat from the jaws of, well, defeat by taking 50th place. By the way, one of my dearest friends is from Arizona and ironically works for a Louisiana-based company. Just so you know, I hold no prejudice against either state. But congrats on 49th. You could have done worse. Not gloating, but our much, much higher taxes up north did give Connecticut second place, and we aren't too dreadfully upset about losing to New Jersey. Interesting factoid about New Jersey. As much as we love to wrinkle our Yankee noses in distaste when discussing that state, they require the smallest amount of subsidy from the federal government at around 5%, while Louisiana is one of the most dependent upon the federal government's generous teat, so to speak, at 47%. You know, the government founded on separation of church and state. Not to mix my metaphors, but it does draw to mind visions of biting the teat that feeds you. When my son was 8 months old, he did exactly that. You know what happened to him? W-E-A-N-E-D, weaned. Let's examine that more closely, shall we? Now, if indeed New Jersey decided to test the federal government's commitment to secularism in schools, and by the way, for Governor Jeff, secularism is the word of the day. Phew! 5 syllables, sorry about that. And the government withheld funding, as they are wont to do in these cases. New Jersey would simply cut the caviar out of their school lunch menu and muddle through just fine. But you, Louisiana, the ones who would suffer from mass teacher layoffs would be your children. In any case, Louisiana, as the second poorest state in the country, I suppose this makes for an interesting chicken and the egg situation as far as education is concerned. It makes one think you have a touch of myopia in the way you solve all your problems. Now, all doubts about your integrity, of course, are about to end, because as soon as you hang those 10 commandments on every classroom wall, the panacea to solving all educational malaise, these kids are going to toe the proverbial line. But I have a few more questions, if I may. I know you have an issue with evolution and you enjoy teaching creationism, which probably kept your state from crawling up into 48th position. And I know you've banned a lot of books, which may be what kept you out of the top 45, but is the U.S. Constitution one of your banned pieces of literature? I ask because when you teach the document, you might run into a concept called separation of church and state, which originated with early Baptists, if you can believe that. In 1644, Roger Williams, a Puritan minister and founder of Rhode Island and the first Baptist church in America, was the first public official to call for a wall or hedge of separation between the wilderness of the world and the garden of the church. So poetic. And then there's that pesky Thomas Jefferson, who penned the section of the Constitution which set this country on its silly path of religiously tolerant secularism. Does this at all trip up your plans to get out of the teaching toilet? By the way, do you teach the Constitution in your classrooms? Just asking. Does this declaration of Judeo-Christian faith then absolve you from any other efforts to help your young ones thrive? Meaning, are you no longer bound to details like setting a good example and standards for your children? Can you still worship others before the Lord your God, even if they are known liars, adulterers?
I moved on her like a bitch, but I couldn't get there, and she was married. And all of a sudden, I see her, she's now got the big phony tits and everything. She's totally changed her.
Promoters of craven images.
And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the pussy. You can do anything.
And known coveters of people's wives.
I'll admit it.
Whoa.
I did try and fuck her. She was married.
Huge news there.
No, Nancy.
Yeah.
No, this was marriages. And I moved on her very heavily. In fact, I took her out furniture shopping. She wanted to get some furniture. I said, I'll show you where they have some nice furniture.
Never mind convicted felons. As someone who believes education is what will save us from ourselves, I am deeply interested in your teaching philosophy. I have never been one to believe in do as I say, not as I do, but if I am wrong, well, I need to know. It would save me a lot of work. As a mother and a Mima, my dream is that every single child is educated to the absolute height of their ability, regardless of what state they live in or their level of affluence, skin color, sex, sexual identity, religion, whatever. It doesn't matter. When we bring children into this world, every single one of them deserves every opportunity. This is America, where we are entitled to life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, and certainly all of the principles that set forth by our country's founders. Our children, our most precious commodity, if you will. They're the ones who will lead our democracy into the future, should it survive the looming threat of our day one dictatorship. Might do well to understand the basic tenets of the United States. Perhaps post the preamble of the Constitution alongside the Ten Commandments to pique their interest? I don't know. Just a thought. Louisiana, you do you. Just know that the upper 48 and Arizona will be watching. Best of luck to you. Sincerely, the Yankee Farm Wife.